Are you looking for some top tips on how to get amazing photos to post on Instagram or to use in your brand or your business? I'm super excited to share in this video my top tips for how to pose yourself in front of the camera for your Instagram photos or brand photos or whatever it might be. And actually, I do have 5 tips specifically on posing, but I feel like before we get to that, we also need to talk about there's 3 steps to helping guide someone who's taking your pictures. Because I feel like sometimes when you're behind the camera, it can be hard to find someone, or even, I know all of you might not have a photographer who can always take pictures of you. I certainly don't. So here's 3 steps to helping those photos to turn out amazing before you even get in front of the camera. So first of all, it does require asking a family member or a friend or significant other to help take your pictures for you. And when you're doing this, my top tip for you is to take a photo first of what you want to be in the frame, pose them in the frame, and then show it to them and say, hey, like this is where I want to be in the frame. This is where I'm going to be posing. If you could take, frame the photo, something like this, that's going to be super helpful. And then ask if they'll take a few, and then ask to see them after they've taken maybe 1 or 2 to make sure that you like it and you don't have anything you want to change. That can be helpful before snapping a ton of photos of you posing in front of the camera. And lastly, bonus tip here, you don't need a fancy DSLR to get started. So if you're someone who thinks, oh, like I really need to have this fancy camera in order to get pictures of myself, I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. And you can definitely take so many great photos with your smartphone. And in fact, a lot of the photos I share from my brand were taken with my smartphone and edited with my SK Mobile preset. So nothing says you have to get fancy in order to have amazing photos for your brand. Okay, so now that we've got that covered, let's actually talk about the 5 tips. There are 5 things I think are really helpful for posing yourself and making posing a breeze when you are behind the camera. Tip number 1 is to add movement. This is probably one of the best tips I can give because I like to think about it as, pose as if you were posing for a video. You probably wouldn't just stand there and smile, right? You're gonna add movement, like sway back and forth, switch from one leg to the other. You can twirl around, swish your dress, play with your hair, even walk or skip or run. Like add movement into your pictures. It's really going to help it to come across as authentic, a little bit more relaxed, and just to come up with like ideas and movement and poses that you might not otherwise if you're just sitting there like with your hand on your hip, right? So always be moving, always be like, I'm constantly looking off to one side, moving the way that I am touching my hair, maybe putting one hand on my hip like this and switching like which hip that I am putting my weight on, looking back and forth. Just make sure you're constantly moving, and yes, that means you will have bad ones. Whenever I do photo shoots, whether it's with a photographer or my husband's taking them, I'm just getting as much variety as possible in my poses, and probably over half of them are going to be trash. Like I am not going to want to use them, but by adding in that movement, it's going to give me that perfect moment of the one that I do like, and it's going to allow me to have more variety to choose from. Tip number 2 is to get a lower angle. This sounds a little contradictory, and I think this matters more when it's like a wide shot, but if you take your phone, so I'll grab my phone right here. If you take your phone and the person holding it immediately goes like this to take your photo, you're gonna look really, really short because of the angle and because it's pointing down. You're gonna like immediately look a lot shorter than you are, and your torso is gonna look longer than your legs. So it can actually be really helpful to make sure they bring the phone down. Obviously, you don't want to bring it like to the ground, but when they're holding it out in front of them, just have them to bring it down just a little bit so you get more an angle where it's gonna make you look taller, but also get more of the surroundings behind you. And trust me, I know I used to worry a lot about if it would make me look like I had a double chin, but what I found is especially for shots that are further away, you can simply just tuck your chin down a little bit like this and you don't even notice. All right, number 3, when it comes to this comes to more in getting variety, is to move quickly. So in addition to moving yourself and getting a lot of poses, make sure that, especially if you're using this time to get a variety of images you can use for your Instagram feed, take advantage of the fact that you are in a great location, that you have someone taking pictures of you, that you're all dressed up. Maybe just take on like your outer layer, and so you have a different outfit going on top, right? And so you can have a little variety in that. Or make sure that, maybe you just shift the way that you're shooting, and instead of getting this background, you're now getting a different background, so it looks like you're in an almost completely different spot. And you can use those 2 images on your feed pretty close together and no one's gonna notice, right? So just make sure that you are moving quickly in that sense. I found that that to be very different when it comes to, because I used to do photography as a wedding photographer, and now as a content creator, I have found that I don't need variety in one outfit and one background. I need variety in different backgrounds and different outfits and different accessories, so I can spread those out on my, either whether it's Instagram feed or just content in general, and make it look like I took photos on a completely different day. It's this idea of almost batching the work that you're doing, right? So whether you are also a content creator, influencer, or whether you are just a business owner wanting to get more variety in the photos you can post of yourself, this tip was a game changer for me in the way, and it's something that I've really had to change about the way I think about my branding photos in the past. My fifth tip for you guys here is to take note of what you like in past photos. Study the photos that you really like. Like, why do you like them? Is it a certain pose, a certain angle? Do you like one side of your face better? Knowing those things about yourself is really helpful. And I'll argue that a lot of the people you see on Instagram that seem like they always look good in photos are probably just really good at knowing their angles. I don't think a lot of them necessarily always look good in every photo that they take. I don't think there's many people like that, if there's anyone at all. I think it's more you know your angles and you know what you look good in and how to pose yourself. And so one way that I found to be really helpful in getting better photos in the future, ones that I'll actually like and want to use more of, is analyzing what I have liked in the past and doing more of that when I'm posing myself in front of the camera, and really taking note of what are the things, like the different angles that I like, and how can I do that more in the future, or guide even the person who's taking my photos to do more of that in the future. When it comes to the editing part of your pictures, if you're looking for something to help you edit your mobile photos, I know I mentioned my SK Mobile presets earlier, but I would like to mention them again here, that they are a great resource if you're someone who wants a little bit more help in taking your mobile photos that are actually going to look professional, whether you're wanting to capture your life or you're wanting to take photos for your brand to show up. Make sure to check those out. The link will be right below in the description. We'd love to have you guys grab them for yourself and to help transform the images that you're capturing with your mobile phone. And also, we upload new videos every Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to subscribe so you get notified every time you upload a new video. We help you guys with creating content and showing up online and making it super easy to do that so you can grow your brand or business. So be sure to follow along if that sounds fun, like something you need help with. We love to have you guys sticking around, and if you have any questions about, any more questions about posing yourself or getting, mobile photos, be sure to drop a comment. We're here for you guys. We want to help you guys as much as possible. We try to get back as many comments as we can, and we would love to help you as well. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.